Hi, welcome to my on-location reading here that I'm going to do. This is going to be the first of three that I'm hopefully going to be able to get recorded tonight here. And you probably can't tell where I'm at from the interior of this room, but I am at Timberline Lodge, which is a mountain lodge that it was built during the Great Depression in what's known as the United States, and it was a project funded by the federal government through a program called the Civilian Conservation Corps to help people get back to work who were in grave circumstances due to the Depression. And so I'm not going to go through and necessarily film all the beauty inside in the interior of this lodge, but the craftsmanship is really amazing. I highly recommend that you come to this lodge. I grew up coming here. This is a place that I don't live very far from here, where I was raised in a little town called Washougal. And it was a working class town, but my dad was kind of upper middle class for the town, comparatively speaking. And he raised me as a single dad. And one of the perks of being upper middle class around here is that you can often afford to go skiing. And my dad, when I was a little one, probably in I think first grade, he decided that he wanted me to learn how to ski and he wanted to do better at skiing. He was a decent downhill skier, but he signed us up for lessons up here at Timberline Lodge, and I took lessons for 4 years before I was good enough to keep up with everyone else. And so it was a kind of a thinly veiled attempt on his part to meet women. He was a single dad. But I'm very lucky that I have so many wonderful memories of. I also have a lot of difficult ones because learning to ski for a kid like me was pretty rough. There's a lot of wet snow around here in the Pacific Northwest, and if you've ever gone skiing or snowboarding, your equipment's heavy. The snow can be pretty heavy if it gets any moisture to it at all. And when you're a temperamental, moody child who has to be dragged up the mountain every morning to make it by 8 a.m. for ski lessons, it was, my dad, I'm sure, did not enjoy it so much. But anyways, that's this location. And I splurged and rented a fireplace room because I knew I wanted to film some readings from Timberline Lodge. The other thing that's important to know about this lodge is that it's built on what is currently known as Mount Hood. The native people of this area were close to Warm Springs. I don't know which band whose language Wy'east is, but Wy'east is the name of, and I might not even be pronouncing that correctly. That's just how I grew up pronouncing it. But Wy'east is the indigenous name for this mountain, and it's a beautiful mountain. I've spent so much of my life up here on this mountain. I don't really downhill ski anymore just because it's a really expensive sport and I don't have anyone to ski with. I don't know anyone that downhill skis anymore. But I hike and backpack up here all the time. It's an amazing place for hiking and backpacking in the summer. So I could go on and on, but out of my little room here, maybe I'll show it if the sun isn't already down by the time. I took some pictures and I'll post those. I have a view of Mount Jefferson from here, which is south of us. And I don't know the indigenous name of Mount Jefferson. I should look that up. If somebody knows it, please post in the comments. So anyways, that's my little introduction for my surprise location reading here. And now for kind of the second part of this reading, which is was inspired initially because I kept, in a lot of personal readings and readings for others, I kept getting a lot of kings in my layouts, and I was trying to wonder what that was. Aside from, there can be kind of a vacuum in the tarot world of like divine masculine, divine feminine, twin flames, like that whole world can kind of take over tarot, and that's okay. I mean, I'm part of that world too. But I wanted to I was looking outside of the typical, like, why would so many kings be showing up in my reading? And then yesterday when I've been really, once again, I go through periods where I'm really fascinated with Paisley. And I've been in another one of those periods of loving the images of Paisley motifs. And they all these themes kind of converged for me yesterday when I decided I want to look up who were the Magi, who were the three Magi that went to Bethlehem during the birth of Jesus. And that's all documented history. And I wondered about them. Who are they? I think their names are in the Bible, but that's about it. And so I found and researched and found a little documentary and watched that. And one of the things that fascinated me to find out just through research, people who are interested in antiquities and research were able to identify that the three Magi, or the three wise men, are thought to have been Zoroastrian wise men or Zoroastrian Magi. The name Magi is where we get our word magic, and magician is also known as a magus or magi. So that's where the term comes from for magic in the English language. And the Magi, if you go back into, I mean, I haven't thoroughly researched this. This wasn't something I spent hours doing, but I spent a decent amount of time. And it sounds to me like they were Zoroastrian teachers and ministers or whatever they were Magi. They traveled 1,000 miles into Judea to find out and greet the newborn king, right? And so they brought gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And I have frankincense oil on just to sort of honor this layout. So I was thrilled because just as an esoteric person, I've always been really fascinated with the Zoroastrians. Their religion has origins in Persia, and they also have modern day Iran, and they also have origins in Indian and Hindustani mythology. So it's almost like a cross between the two worlds. Coincidentally, and I had no idea about this, in a separate mode, I was researching Paisley. Paisley is also from that part of the world. The Zoroastrians used the image of Paisley. It wasn't called Paisley. Paisley is an English word that was assigned to it because Paisley began to be printed in Europe. I could go on, but I'll go maybe do that in another video, but the Zoroastrians are thought to have been some of the originators of the Paisley image, which is thought to be, among some groups around the Caspian Sea, a cypress tree with a floral motif to indicate fertility, the tree of life, or those types of themes, right? A plant-based image meaning fertility that kind of harkens to the tree of life. In other parts around the Caspian Sea, like near Turkey, they also believe that this print, it's called a Buta, B-U-T-A, in its original part of the world where it was born. That was the name for it. The Buta was also a protective symbol. And so I have another story that goes with these protective symbols of Paisley. I'll include them in another reading here, just because for folks who just want my card reading, this might not be so interesting to them. But to get us down to our card reading, I felt really inspired by the story of the three Magi and where they came from and understanding what Magi did. They were dream interpreters. That was one of the things that they did for people and one of the services they provided their community. And they had a dream, according to the biblical story, that they were warned not to notify Herod where Jesus was in Bethlehem after they met him and brought him their gifts. So they didn't go back through and meet with Herod as he asked of them when they first passed through. They took another route back to their home, which is also interesting because they were dream interpreters and they had a divinely guided dream, apparently, warning them not to communicate anymore with Herod, who was a brutal king, right? So all of this inspired me to create a Three Kings reading. It started with me being curious about why kings kept showing up, then recognizing the theme of the kings around this time of year, around the nativity and the birth of Jesus in that part of the world. There are kings associated with that story. And then I came up with a layout. So I'll take a picture of this so that it's easy to see for people who are interested in also learning tarot. But this card up here represents the star. these are the three kings, the King of Wands, the King of Cups, and the King of Pentacles. They're the kings I chose to represent the Magi. The King of Swords is going to represent you, or us, the asker. And then the Magician is going to be a card representing dreams. And the Magician, if you can grasp up here, he has a direct relationship to the Magi. The Magus, or the Magician card in the tarot, he wears a pointed hat like the Magi were thought to have, these Zoroastrian priests. There's also a painting of them in Ravenna, Italy, that shows them with these pointed hats. So that's also where we get our imagery around a pointed hat for a wizard or a magician. So this card up here, the Star card, is going to represent your hopes about this journey that you've been on. And then these three kings are going to represent the past, present, and future of the journey. What's important for you to understand, your clarifying moment, the main theme of this reading, and then a dream, what's going on in the unseen. So the way I decided to do this, because I wanted these to be so featured, is that these are going to be laid out here. They're not going to be cards pulled. They're just the base of this reading. And now I'm going to pull other cards to lay over them, and that'll be our layout for us. So one thing I would like to put out there is that if you're catching this reading and you're a card reader and you want to try this spread, I've tried it a couple times now for myself, and I like how they turn out. If you would like to try this spread, please do. I hope you'll enjoy it like I've been enjoying it. My plan is probably to use it mostly around this time of year. This is also a time of year where the veil is considered thin, starting from Halloween, Day of the Dead, All Saints Day, all the way through the 12 days of Christmas. This is thought to be a time of year where the veil is thinnest, so this is probably the time of year that I'll do these layouts and keep them as special for this time of year. So what I'm going to ask about today is a journey that you've been on. It doesn't have to mean a literal journey like a travel trip, although it could. It would be a journey of your soul, a journey of your life, a journey with another person, for example, or a journey through healing. So my question is going to be about a journey, and journey is the theme of this layout. So this is a good layout for this time of year for trying to understand a journey that you've been on, just like the Magi went on their journey. It was estimated that it took them several months to get to Bethlehem. They were quite devoted to doing this. So tell us about this journey that you've been on. What's important for you to understand about the journey that you've been on and that you're curious about? It could be a journey of a relationship, or a journey of a pursuit of knowledge, a journey regarding your work or your creative projects. Just a journey is the uniting theme. All right, very interesting. Hold on one second while I put some wood on this fire, because I can feel that it's going down a little bit in intensity. It's real hot right here, so I cracked the window, but now it's a little chilly if the fire goes down at all. So here's what we have here for these three kings. So this is the past. The past part of your journey that you've been on involved the Six of Cups. So it might be a journey of a past love, or the journey from your childhood, the journey of healing your childhood potentially, or the journey of, and that's interesting because this is in the past. This knight is also king. I chose the King of Wands to represent a younger king, a fiery king who might not be quite so subdued yet by his heart or by the material world. He's passionate. So this represents the past part of your journey, and the Six of Cups is a card of the past, and it can be a card representing your inner child or childhood. It can also be a card representing a soulmate. To me, I'm thinking it might be a journey from childhood for you. In the present moment, in the present time in this journey, is the Knave of Wands or the Prince of Wands. And so the Prince of Wands is really wonderful creative ideas and communication and a lot of quick and joyful communication, and also young, sort of passionate energy, right? So maybe some work you've done around this past relationship or this past in your childhood has brought you to a present day of wanting to communicate about it and wanting to have good fortune almost, or good news yourself. You're wanting to have joy again, really, in some ways, after maybe a childhood that might have been a little difficult. We'll see. We'll get more as the reading goes on here. Now, the future, where you're headed and where you would like to see this journey go is toward a Queen of Wands. So that could actually represent you, or it could represent a queen that you have your eye on, somebody who's in queen energy. Your message here, what's important for you to understand, is the Knight of Wands. So we've got 3 Wands characters here, and the King of Wands started us all off in the past. So we have the Page of Wands, the Queen of Wands, and now the Knight of Wands. So we've got all of the Wands elements represented here, which is very fiery. So your message, the clarity for you about where you are on this whole journey, is the Knight of Wands. So this is a card of taking action. It's a card of going forward on your horse, right? Of quick movement, of passionate movement, maybe towards this idea or this communication that you're desiring to have with the Queen of Wands here. That's the important message for you. What's happening in the unseen is resting. That's the card that's being represented by the Dream card, or the Magi here, the Magician, is something to do with rest and recovery. It might have something to do with healing from this past issue. We don't know yet. And then what's important to keep your hope on alive about in this star position is the Two of Pentacles. So that can be a card of balance. It can also be a card of change. Like maybe you've been going back and forth in your mind about a decision, and this is saying that this decision is going to come through for you. But I need to pull a little bit of clarity around it. What's happening with this Two of Pentacles? What does that mean? This is really an interesting layout coming out here. It's definitely going to lend itself to needing some clarifiers. Can you please clarify the Two of Pentacles for me? What's important about the Two of Pentacles in the card of your hopes? What's important for you to keep following your heart about? The guiding light of the Star of Bethlehem. This is what this represents here. Tell us more about the Two of Pentacles. Knight of Wands again. The Four of Pentacles. And the Star, beautiful. So we've got the Star duplicated on itself. So your guiding star, the message that you should be following on this journey is to protect yourself with this Four of Pentacles as you charge forward to make your goal a reality, or to make your dream a reality. You're going to want to protect yourself. And that might be what this Dream card is about with this Four of Swords. It might not be time to move yet. That might be the unseen. Something about this Queen is desirable for you. What is the Queen here? I love that the Star showed up a second time. Who's the Queen? Eight of Swords. You might be feeling like you need to break through with some communication here. The Eight of Swords is a card of feeling trapped and no movement. If this is a very kingly imagery, this is a lot more of a European concept of kings, but this can also represent being trapped in the tower. Sometimes it's shown that way, like being locked up in a tower. What else? Betrayal. The Ten of Swords, surrender, and the Four of Wands. So something about this Queen has been through a really painful time of surrendering and of feeling powerless to move. You want a completion with this queen. That's what I'm seeing here. I think you're this knave and this knight. Well, we already know that. You're the knight. What is it about this knave in the present moment, or the page? What is the page of wands representing here for you? These have some themes from the last reading about protecting your journey. Protecting. Knights are protective. Up here shows a protective knight. You are needing to protect this journey for some reason. What's this page of wands here, or the knave of wands? The Knight of Pentacles, the Seven of Swords, and the Hanged Man. Yep, I think this is a continuation of that reading. It's a furnace coming on. So you are going to need to keep working quietly and slowly and steadily. You're wanting to rush forward right now with some communication, but you're not quite there yet. And you may be aware of that, but this is definitely revealing that, especially with this Four of Swords. With this Knight of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles is a little bit slower than the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands wants to go. He wants to act right now on this Page of Wands information. But the Knight of Pentacles indicates a need to move a little slower and be a little bit more guarded about your plans and about what you're doing. The Page of Wands can be a messenger. So if you imagine people sending messages back and forth during a dangerous time, this Knight of Pentacles is really urging you to go a little bit more slowly and methodically. There's a little bit of trickiness afoot, and so it's not your time to move right now. It's a little bit of challenging for you, though, because you really are wanting to move forward pretty desperately in a way. What else should you understand? It has something to do with this queen. Like, you might want to be of support to this queen who's been through a difficult time. You might want to tell her how you feel, or move things together. You're wanting a completion with her. You're wanting to I'm kind of getting a sense, not only protect her, but also protect this whole situation. It's crazy that this is such a strong continuation of the last reading. I did one of these at home for myself, and it had nothing to do with this. So it's interesting that these themes are coming up again. Let me know if this reading is for you. Yeah. The Seven of Pentacles is a card of you're doing the work. You're getting there, and the hard work that you've been doing is going to pay off. It's going to yield a really beautiful harvest. The challenge aspect of the Seven of Pentacles is that it can feel like you're never going to get there. And that's relating to this need to rest and this feeling of being blocked, and that you need to still kind of move quietly and slowly, and in a way that's also a little bit sneaky. A Knight of Wands is out there on blast. A Knight of Pentacles, not so much. So I'm kind of picking up here that you need to guard your journey. The journey that you're on needs protection. I'm going to pull a few more clarifiers here. What's an animal spirit that can help you? And that can also maybe lend a little bit of extra information about this layout. What's an animal card that can help here in this circumstance? It looks to me like you're being advised to move quietly. The Magi at some point had to make their goals quiet. They didn't want Herod to find out because of the dream that they had warning them to avoid him. So that's a similar kind of theme, right? They had to leave Bethlehem in a different way to get home so that they wouldn't go back through where Herod's kingdom was. What's an animal that can help with this? Oh, and I had started to say before, I don't think I ever finished my thought about this. If you're a card reader and you'd like to try this layout and want to share it with people and do the layout and explore it for this time of year, the only thing I ask is that you credit me and maybe link to this reading, because this is my debut reading of this 3 Magi spread. I've never done it before for anyone. So That's the other thing. I would just ask that you let me, let the world know that this is a reading that I invented, and that's it. So one companion animal that is important to think on is the owl. Wisdom, deception, right? With the Seven of Swords, you need to be wise and covert. You're not to be acting in an overt way like this Knight of Wands. This might be your typical way of being, especially related to all of the current energy you're feeling with this Page of Wands. Not yet. It's saying you need to be a little bit more discreet. You need to protect what you're hoping for. Wisdom, deception, intuition, insight, communication, the Page of Wands, mystery, freedom, security, stealth, vision. I totally agree. Let's get another, or I totally agree, but I love that it echoes what I've been saying. That this is moving forward in a successful way. You're going to get there. The Seven of Pentacles is going to yield everything that you're wanting to write out for. But you need to really be careful right now. This is what I'm picking up. What else? What other animal? The rat. Be shrewd. Restless. Yeah, restlessness, right? Adaptable, resourceful, survival, adventurous, frankness, self-assuredness, and cleverness. It's the same concepts. You've got to make sure that you're being very careful as you go forward. This is about a past relationship with this queen. Somehow I've now done 2 readings for the Divine Masculine somehow. But I like that this journey is highlighting the need for discretion, the need to keep your own counsel, the need to keep your plans to yourself and be quiet. It may not even be time to reach out to this queen. Or if you do, you've got to be really careful about it. This rat is another echo of that. What's interesting too is that an owl is a predator of a rat. So that indicates to me that there's some predatory or dark, or that's what is going on here in terms of needing to protect this relationship. There might be elements around you that are not supporting this relationship, for example. What else? I'm going to pull a Colette Baron Reid card here. What do you have to look forward to? As long as you're moving forward cautiously with discretion, this isn't quite the time to act yet. It's still a time for you to rest and recover. Even though you're in this Knight of Wands energy, the Knight of Wands doesn't necessarily want to rest, but this resting is going to help. It's the unseen. It's what's going to help you fulfill your dream, is to not move right now, but to continue resting. But what do you have to look forward to? Observer. A deep knowing. Okay, I'm going to read it's important to know about on this journey and what you have to look forward to. Most people see the world through a personal lens. They closely identify with their feelings and experiences, so much so that they come to believe that these are the only reality. There are times when you need distance in order to gain perspective and understand your circumstances from a more neutral vantage point. Now is one of those times. Protect this journey. Slow down. Now is one of those times in your life. This is a perfect moment for you to begin to do some exploring. Instead of only considering yourself, consider what you need to understand about the conditions, people, culture, and environment you're engaged with now. You'll be happy you did. Illumination is the miracle you seek and will indeed find. So use this period of time to go deep and figure out what might you not know yet about this circumstance. This card came in the reverse, which means that it's got its own meaning for that. It's for protection. This is a signal to walk away from what you're contemplating. There is a thin veneer of glitter and sparkle, but something is sneaky underneath. Pursuing it will only bring about a difficult situation you will be sorry you got yourself into. Stay away for now. Isn't it wonderful how spirit protects you? Better things await. So it's not the time to act. Your things that you're dreaming about and working on are coming into being. It's just not the time. I know that this Knight of Wands is not going to want to hear that, but it's the clarity that you need from this 3 Magi message. And card number 43. I might pull a card about what is the threat? Why is this not a good time? Things are not what they seem. I don't see a lot of warning cards like the moon and stuff, though. There's mostly just, there's a time of needing for things to even out or something. You are in empathy overload and need to get grounded again, so tune out for a bit. Hypersensitive, you're suffering from psychic exhaustion. This signals a time for recharging your batteries. Set energetic boundaries, take a salt bath, empty your mind, and get back to you. It's not a time to be too open. Just like I said, you got to keep this information about this journey close to your heart. It's not a time to be sharing with people. Soon enough, you can let your guard down. Right now, you need self-care and self-love. It's time to say no thank you to anyone in your life who exhausts you. Won't that feel good? So this might be it. Maybe this queen is not I don't know. I'm going to pull a little bit, like, what is the risk here? What's wrong about this situation here? Actually, I'm not going to use this deck. I'm going to use this. What's the challenge here that you've got to watch out for? I'm hoping you'll just heed the advice, for one. It's not a time for action. It's a time to rest. We have the 8 of Swords, the 10 of Swords, the 4 of Swords, and the 2 of Pentacles. We also have the 7 of Swords. So there's just some, like in that other reading, there's a little bit of tricky or manipulative energy afoot. A need for you to really protect yourself and protect your plans. What is it about this queen in particular? Is it this queen that you need to watch out for, or what? Who is the queen? Why is this going on here? Keep this torch lit, and this is fire energy, and so this Queen of Wands is not negative. Keep the torch lit, either for this queen or you're the queen. You know, you're going to graduate from Knight of Wands into Queen of Wands. That could be. What else? Keep this torch lit. So to me, that says keep your hope alive. That's what the star is here. And it came up twice. So there's 2 representations of the star. So that's really key. Keep your torch lit. Again, be wise as the serpent and gentle as the dove. That came up in the last reading too. And that's a very wise way to be stealth. And to make sure you're not too careless in this Page of Wands energy of the present moment. You need to slow down a little bit so you can get back into your clarity of wisdom. Abundance and fertility. So I don't know can I just get one card about, can I just get some words about what is the risk? What is the risk here? With the 10 of Swords, the 8 of Swords, it might just be, it's not the right time. You know, if you're a spiritual person, sometimes people always say, in God's time, not your time. In divine timing, not your timing. Be patient, right? Oh, I haven't read a deep knowing card. Or yeah, I did. I just read that. What is so tricky about this? What is the risk, or what is the danger? You have to turn it over to fate. It's not going to tell me. It just says that you need to surrender and trust the greater order of things. So I think I'll go ahead and close that reading. But that's the sort of gist of this journey that you're on. Right in the present moment, you really want to move forward. You really want to communicate. you're really wanting to get things in motion for this queen. And it's saying not yet. There's sort of some shady elements afoot that require you to be a lot more discreet and a lot more slower, and even to not be moving right now, but to be in wait and meditate energy before you take action. The sense I have is that this completion of the Four of Wands that you want, this is like a wedding canopy, a joyful, harmonious union with this queen. You're probably going to be guided again, just like the Magi were on their journey. Each time they needed guidance, they got it, and they safely made their journey, gave their gifts, and then went home a different route because the route they had come in on was too dangerous. So I hope that's a useful message to you. And again, if you'd like to do the 3 Magi or the 3 Kings reading with the star and everything, I just ask that you give me credit for it. But otherwise, please feel free, because this is something that I came up with through a lot of spiritual, meditative, and research practice on mine about the Zoroastrians, the Magician card, the journeying imagery and messaging and all that. So it's from me to you with love, and I can't wait. I'll probably do another couple more of these before the season is over, and then save this for this time of year when it has special meaning. So thank you. I also forgot my little remote, so I'm going to have to start all these Timberline Lodge videos manually. Thank you much.